During the Clone Wars, Twi'Lek Jedi General Bink Utrila led a squad of purple-painted clone troopers into an eerie ancient lost temple that had been carved out thousands of years prior. Inside, something extremely mysterious happens. One of her clone troopers believes that he has discovered his deep connection to the Force. So, I'm going to break down the full story of the clone trooper who believed he was Force sensitive and the tragic ending to the mission. Before we get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below for more incredible Star Wars lore content. The story begins on the moon Draay 2, which you might remember if you've read the Knights of the Old Republic comic series. General Bink Utrila looks inside of her glowing holocron to discover the location of the temple that they are looking for. General Utrila confirms to her loyal clone soldiers that the temple should be located just above the nearby hill. As they arrive at the edge of the hill, Commander Law, the second in command of the squad, informs the general that they are in the right location. As they look down over the incredibly deep ravine, they spot the hidden Jedi temple with its entrance carved into the wall of the mountain. The clones and the Jedi then quickly get their grapple ropes out and lower themselves down to the entrance of the temple. General Utrila tells her men that if the holocron is correct about the location of the temple, it might also be correct about an ancient Sith artifact that is rumored to be hidden there. According to Jedi myth, an ancient Sith relic known as the Gauntlet of Kresh the Younger was hidden inside of the temple and was able to protect its wearer from any physical harm whatsoever. General Utrila then gives her men clear instructions that the mysterious artifact must be returned to Coruscant immediately if it is found, or if it can't be returned safely, it must be destroyed on the spot so that the Separatists cannot get their hands on it. Trooper Glitch then responds to his general claiming to have seen the temple before in Force visions. Clone Trooper Cannon then sarcastically responds to Glitch, telling him that he got the information from their mission briefing and not from a Force vision. You can definitely see why the other boys call him Glitch. The general then asks her Padawan Renax to help her use the Force to push open the large stone doors. Eventually, the combined power of the two Jedi begins to crack the brittle stone away from the door, allowing the entire squad to enter. Master Utrila and her apprentice then reach out through the Force again, hoping to locate a hidden entrance or doorway to continue their search. As the two Jedi are busy sweeping the area through the Force, Trooper Cannon asks Horns what the story behind the purple markings on his helmet are. Horns tells him that the symbol on his head is the symbol of the Mandalorian Death Watch. Cannon already knows that the symbol represents the Death Watch, but questions why Horns would choose to put the emblem of a group of maniacs on his helmet. Horns quickly responds, telling Cannon that the Death Watch are the most dangerous Mandalorian warriors in the galaxy, and that he is one of the deadliest clones of a great Mandalorian warrior, Jango Fett. This squad of clones is absolutely awesome. They're all a bit crazier than the others in small ways. The two troopers then look over at Glitch, who claims he can feel the secret temple entrance through the Force. Cannon then turns to Horns and tells him that he heard Glitch only just barely passed through the Citadel challenge, but since clones are weapons, even a faulty weapon can be useful during war. A loud click then rings through the echoey Jedi temple as Glitch warns his squad that he accidentally stepped in something. As Glitch steps back from the pressure plate he just activated, a large guard droid is awoken from its thousands of years of slumber and begins to wreak havoc on the clones. Glitch and his brothers begin to open fire at the droid, but the massive mechanical creature slams its fist down to the floor, creating a large clank. Glitch then complains that his blasters aren't doing anything against the massive droid, but Horns then rushes in, promising to show his brothers why he wears the symbol of the Death Watch on his helmet. He then rapidly throws blast charges into the core of the droid, leading it to blast into a massive raging fireball. Horns is extremely happy with himself, laughing maniacally as the blast rings out behind him. Unfortunately, Horns' blast charge was not enough to take down the monstrous droid, leading it to stand up and tower above the squad once more. As the Jedi move back into action to deal with the droid, Cannon notices that Glitch is holding out his hand in front of him and asks, "What in the universe are you doing?" Glitch tells him that he is trying to use the Force. Lieutenant Law quickly tells him to stop being an idiot and to pick up his blaster and continue firing on the droid. The two Jedi then quickly realize that in order to take down the droid, they're going to have to think like Jedi. They quickly realize that they must do something that only a Jedi could do, but a Sith would never think to do. They must use the Force to defeat the droid, but not to attack. This strategy successfully deactivates the mechanism inside of the droid, finally stopping it from attacking. General Utrila urgently asks Glitch which stone triggered the droid, and he panics, but does eventually remember which one it was, allowing the Jedi to mark it off so that it can't be triggered again. Glitch then tells Cannon, "See, I was heading in the right direction," to which Cannon responds, "That's a coincidence, Glitch. Your only talent is for being in the wrong place at the wrong time." The Jedi then discover the second puzzle in the temple. They must place the blade of their lightsaber into the correct opening to reveal the path. If the lightsaber is placed into the wrong opening in the wall, the whole temple will collapse and rock will be brought down on all of their heads. General Utrila is confident but cautious in her ability because she has studied these puzzles before at the Jedi Temple. temple. The general then places her green blade into one of the holes before nervously waiting for it to open. The door does eventually rumble open, allowing all of the clones to come through. As they are walking through the spiderweb-filled hallways of the deep Jedi temple, Master Utrila tells her Padawan to use the Force to sense any upcoming danger. Padawan Renax asks her master how she can use the Force to sense danger, and as she is doing this, you can see Glitch trying to listen in on the conversation in hopes of learning how to use the Force. Glitch then enters the final room of the temple where he is about to tell the others to wait for further orders from the general, but instead they come across a brightly glowing column. Cannon touches one of the glowing objects, causing hundreds of crawling creatures to awaken and swarm the clones. Glitch then says he senses the dark side at work, but his brothers quickly tell him that it isn't a premonition because it's happening right now. Underneath where the sleeping creatures were, a bright beam of light then shines up to the ceiling of the temple, revealing the ancient Jedi artifact, a gauntlet. Glitch is overwhelmed by the bugs as they crawl all over him, but he places his hand out and to his surprise, the bugs are blasted away from him. He thanks the Force for saving him, but when he looks up, he realizes that it is just Padawan Renax teasing him. Master Utrila then uses the Force to hold back the bugs as she grabs the gauntlet, but the moment her finger touches it, she becomes extremely worried and orders her men to fall back immediately. The clones manage to fight back the bugs as they fall back, but when the general returns, she reveals that when she touched the ancient gauntlet, she was overwhelmed by the power of the dark side. Padawan Renax and the clones hastily seal up the gauntlet in the chamber, but Master Utrila is left haunted by the visions of the dark side that she had just witnessed. Because of this, Renax offers to take the first watch for her master overnight and chooses to take Glitch with her. As the two are guarding the first watch of the area, 5 shadowy figures appear on the horizon. The figures quickly light up with jetpacks propelling them forward. It is Pre Vizsla and the Death Watch. Vizsla and Bo-Katan take the young Padawan hostage, but quickly notice the Death Watch symbol on the helmet of Horns. Pre Vizsla offers the chance for Horns to join the Death Watch that he looks so highly up to, but on the condition that he kills his Jedi General. Horns is definitely conflicted, but in the end he doesn't have it in it to kill his beloved General. Pre Vizsla is then about to blast Horns right through the skull for being a pretender, but not before Glitch appears out of nowhere, pulling out the luminous green lightsaber that he had recovered from his General. Glitch and Pre Vizsla then have a massive fight, with the Darksaber coming up against Glitch's green blade. Glitch surprisingly does actually get a few hits in, but Pre Vizsla of course comes out on top and defeats Glitch. Glitch then gets back to his feet hoping to continue the fight, but he clumsily activates the pressure plate from earlier, reactivating the ancient Jedi droid. This massive distraction allows the clone troopers to overpower the Death Watch and free Padawan Renax, but Vizsla and Glitch continue their fierce fight. Glitch eventually pulls a trick from up his sleeve and activates the lightsaber puzzle from earlier. Of course, he places the green blade into the wrong slot, causing the temple to begin to crumble to pieces. The Death Watch quickly retreat with their jetpacks, and the clone squad with the Jedi are able to escape with only moments to spare. Tragically, the crumbling temple catches up with Glitch, causing him to plunge into a deep cavern below, while the rest of his brothers escape. The Jedi and his brothers pay their respects for the fallen Glitch, saying he was a terrible clone, but a great man. Because of the tragedy, Padawan Renax chooses to leave the Jedi Order to honor Glitch's sacrifice and to reunite with her parents. Master Utrila is saddened but fully accepts the decision of her apprentice. To end the story, we get another shocking twist. Glitch actually managed to place the ancient gauntlet onto his arm, saving his life from the fall. Now Glitch is left in this distant cavern with no way of contacting anybody or escaping. He is probably going to be stuck alone down there for the rest of his life. Very tragic and eerie ending to his amazing story. So that was the story of the clone trooper who thought he was Force sensitive. Thanks so much for watching, really hope you enjoyed. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.